Hi everyone, welcome back to the Coach's Toolbox. I'm here once again with my good friend Mike Tully from TotalGamePlan.com. And Mike and I were discussing during the week about some of the key things to peak performance. And Mike said, you know, there's one that we can't not overlook because it's so important, and that's attitude.
Attitude is everything. I'm reminded of a young woman who comes into my club every week where we train, and she smiles when she walks in the gym, and she high-fives her teammates and she gives them a big hello. And when I instruct her, she says, "Thank you very much." Now, who knows? Maybe she hates it. Maybe she hates our club and the coaching and everything about it. But she sure doesn't act that way. So that's the first thing I'd like to talk about, Gary, if it's okay. Attitude is an action. It's not a thought.
Amen. You know, that reminds me of our mentor, Dr. Rob Gilbert, who's a sports psychologist here at Montclair University in New Jersey. And Dr. Gilbert talks about attitude, and he said attitude is an action step. And he has three axioms that he uses. Number one, action controls your attitudes, motion controls your emotions, and movements control your moods. Those three things are very powerful in terms of no matter how you feel, you can act differently than you're feeling. And that's an important key issue. You know, you don't always know what someone is thinking or feeling, but you can certainly tell something about the way they act.
Well, just go down to the Arlington National Cemetery for the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. How impressive these soldiers are. They're dressed impeccably, their posture is perfect, they move so beautifully and precisely. Now, do we know what they're thinking? Is their mind really on their task, or are they thinking about when is lunch break and I can't wait for that hero sandwich? Well, we don't know what they're thinking, but we sure know what their actions are, and their actions are really impressive.
You know, it's true, Mike, and probably the second point that we want to talk about is that attitude is a choice. We always have a choice of how we choose to see what happens to us. Most people's attitudes are fine until something happens. And then all of a sudden, with that action or an incident that takes place, their attitude can go in different directions. Take the team that gets scored on early. You'll see the shoulders drop and you see the negative attitude. And sometimes it's that one player, and coaches, we know this, that can bring the rest of the team down like a rock, you know, with a negative attitude. I call it, this is something I use with my athletes, it's called Moomba. If you look at this very closely, you can have a lot of fun with this, coaches. It's my only obstacle may be attitude. Some players' only obstacle to making them very successful is their attitude. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Well, it reminds me, unfortunately, Gary, of my own situation. Years ago, I worked in an office, and I really didn't enjoy it, and unfortunately, I let that show in my attitude. And looking back on it, there was opportunity in that office, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. So actually, my attitude really limited my vision.
Oh, how many people, successful people, or people that we know that could be so much more successful, were limited by their attitude. There's three types of attitudes. One is positive, right? The glass is half full. Again, same situation. How do you view it? The glass is half empty, negative. That third one is the one that's a real killer, though. I call it in today's generation the whatever attitude. It's that ambivalent, like, well, are you happy to be out here? Do you want to play today? Whatever. Do you want to play? Whatever. You know, it's just this non-committal thing. And, you know, that choice of how you see it sometimes can be very, very frustrating.
So, Gary, what do you think? What does this say? What does this message say here? This collection of letters, what do you see?
I see success is nowhere.
Really?
Wait a minute. Oh, nice, Mike. You're tricking me, you dog. Yes, I see it now. Success is now here.
Success is now here. Same collection of letters, two completely different messages. It's all how you see it.
You're right, because I've got a couple of athletes, Mike, that would see this and say, success, I snow here. Regardless of how wild and crazy your athletes are, how they choose to see things. You know, this is so key. Teams, why do some teams, the momentum stays so strong? Because they go through it. They look at a challenge. It's not frustrating. It's fascinating how they're going to break the other team down. Is this goalie in a soccer match, is she this huge obstacle, or is she an opportunity that could be slotted low in the corner because of her size? You know, people, when they take those ideas and work on them, Some people go through their life and they just go through things, go through all these situations while others grow through them. I think, you got on two key points there, Mike. Number one, action. Everything about attitude is action. And number two, it's certainly about how you choose to see it.
So if you're an athletic director, make sure that your coaches know about this and your student athletes. If you're a parent, make sure your child knows about it. If you're a team captain, share this with your teammates because attitude is everything.
Amen. Well, listen, I want to thank you again for joining us, Mike Tully and myself, here on the Coach's Toolbox. And keep that attitude up, and we'll see you next time.